we'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the South East Nation, the Malakadee people of the Yuin River and the Liliquanni people of Far South. Recognise their continuing connection to land, water and culture, and we pay our respects to their elders past and present. Tonight we have in attendance Deputy Mayor Thorpe, Councillor Armstrong, I'm going to say Councillor Robinson because I always get confused. Thank you, Councillor Jessup, Councillor Gibson, Councillor O'Neill and Councillor Rozak. There's no apologies tonight, but we have a leave of absence, Councillor Robertson, and we have no absence. I missed you. Would you like to announce your staff, please?
Sure. So we have General Counsel Matt Grimsey, Director of Community Place Lyle Ground will be a late arrival, Director of Infrastructure and Assets Frank Chen, Acting Director People and Corporate Services Raylene Watson, and Support Staff Innovation and Technology Project Officer Connor Watson, and Executive Assistant Olga Bath.
Thank you. Councillors, do we have any councillors wishing to declare an interest in any of tonight's agenda items?
Sorry, Mayor. I'll just make a mention. I don't think it's a conflict of interest. In the report, it mentions SEED, which is a social enterprise that's run by the CEO of the organisation that runs it. It's just mentioned in terms of waste management. There's no decision to be made or anything, but I'll just put it on the record that I'm associated with SEED in that sense.
Thank you. Everyone's happy with that? Yep. Thank you. 4.005/26. Do I have a councillor to move a motion that the minutes of the ordinary meeting 29 April 2026 as circulated be confirmed? Councillor Jessup and a seconder, Councillor O'Neill. Councillor...
There's nothing to say there.
No? Any other councillors have any wishes to change? Okay, well, I'll put that motion. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That's all councillors, and the motion is carried. No legislative items tonight. No urgent matters.
No.
Mayor's announcements. As you might have noticed on our social media, that it is National Road Safety Week from the 17th to the 24th. Council is proud to once again support this initiative. Last year, Tasmania lost 43 lives. 280 people were seriously injured on our roads. It's the second worst for fatalities in a decade. So our short messages that we've been putting up every day, we've had them so far from Jumpstart with the Learn to Drive. We've had from today, Duggins have put up about worksite safety. And we have the one that I completed with Minister Vincent to start it off, and we have a couple more to come in the next couple of days. So please listen and take it on board. I also want to congratulate the team that put together our contribution and our entry into the Tidy Towns Award. They were on in Launceston at the weekend, and the Yuin Valley, contrary to some media outlets, Yuin Valley was the tidiest town in Tasmania, and it was the national Tidy Towns national winner for Tasmania. Williamstown, or Williams, it's called Williams, in Western Australia, was the overall winner. So congratulations to them, but also to the team, because it was our entry was based on volunteers and what great work they do. So well done. So we don't have anyone in the gallery tonight, so the questions that were taken on notice from Liz Smith and Niels, is it Cass? K-A-S-S. Their responses are in the minutes and on the website. There were questions given on notice where there was three. There was Jeanette Carrison and Michael and Jenna Bunting. And those responses are also on the website, included in the minutes. And then we had a question without notice from Liz Smith. Well, we had 2 questions, Cygnet Township Structure Plan and Community Forums, and those answers are in the minutes and in the minutes and on our website. So we have no one in the gallery, so we'll skip through to deputations. No deputations?
No.
No petitions?
No.
And there's no reports for council to consider acting as a planning authority tonight. So 11.005/26. Do I have a councillor to move a motion that the general reports and minutes for the period of 1 to 30 April 2026 be received and noted? Do I have a councillor to move that, please? Councillor Armstrong and Councillor Gibson. Councillor Armstrong, do you wish to speak to?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Do any other councillors have? Yes, Councillor Jessup.
Mayor, if I can just ask for 2 expansions, I suppose, or one comment, 2 expansions. The first comment is it just mentioned the Dark Skies activity that we ran in Franklin, that 105 people turned. I think I mentioned that last meeting, but it was really worthwhile, and glad to see council sort of pushing the preservation of our dark skies. The food organic bins, we're a bit sort of mysterious here, talking about a reasonably priced option. So we're not putting out FOGO bins. Can you give us a bit of an indication of what the reasonably priced option was, or do we have to wait for the next instalment for that report?
You're talking under waste services, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, so food organics bins, inquiries have been conducted about food. Yep.
Yep. So yeah, basically bins that are actually they are just at Southbridge at the waste transfer station, and would be offered as an opportunity for people who are attending anyway, if they don't have a better way to get rid of their organics at home and would like to drop them off, that we can offer that there. It's a service provided by Veolia that we've checked out for where it actually goes, so that it is actually being composted and reused, whatever else, and it is at a price point that we think is going to work. So yeah, we'll finalise that. Yes, it's not a broad scale solution because the affordability of that is just not there, and it's only been made more complex by the current fuel issues. But this would start to give us a sense for if there is appetite in the community for some people who want to drop off food organics that way.
Because I think the survey showed that there wasn't a huge residential demand across us all, but in places.
Yep.
But that would open up to.
While we're still on that issue, is it scalable to other areas?
Potentially, but
Localities.
potentially it's all about the transport logistics for this stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll start it small, see what the option is. Could be scalable. There's 2. I'm actually more interested in scaling it to a commercial solution. So, for example, all of Main Street cafes in Cygnet, for example.
That's right.
So you do it like that. There's absolutely the potential to do that, but we've just got to work through the business case of it effectively.
And I think having a foot in the door allows that, but also for events. So it's like it gives us a taste and a show and a couple of things. Because I know when I was on the show, that was a constant frustration of just having to put everything in a hook bin and bring it up to the tip, and expensive too. It was, multiple thousands of dollars. So. That would be pretty good.
Well, you'll hear more as we progress this, and just ideally just do it as a trial, see how it works from both public acceptance and use of it, but also the company's ability to follow through on it and deliver it the logistics of it effectively is what we want to understand as well.
It's a good pivot. So thank you for that. And the second one was it's a rates, roads and rubbish meeting today. The 2 meetings we had with the waste management team looking at the 54% increase to the landfill levy from $45 to $70 a tonne. That clearly is going to have a flow-on effect for all of our people, with the bins and also with the using the waste transfer station. Do we get anything out of the state government for that? Do they use grants or something? Or I know there's the Signet Tip Shop is funded through that, or
Correct. So there are, there's a, what is it? Priority infrastructure grants
Yep.
that are run annually, that are funded out of that. The council's opinion is that we haven't really received great value out of that yet. And my impression of what would be high priority infrastructure investments would be regional scale improvements to processing facilities to generate circular economy, genuine reuse opportunities, create business for these things. But there's a chicken and egg here because there hadn't been the planning done on what the regional infrastructure needs actually are and the analysis of that. So that work has actually been done. There's a draft circulating at the moment, and so hopefully we will start to see a more coordinated strategic use of the funds that we've been, and us and every other council has been contributing.
and every ratepayer. So I'm assuming that's not just leaking into consolidated revenue. That's staying with the Waste Management Board or whatever they're called.
Yeah, it's held by the Waste Management Board and allocated by them. Yeah.
So we can come up with smart ideas and ask them when it comes up.
Yeah, I think our advocacy has just continued to be exactly that, smart ideas. So regional scale, stuff that's actually going to keep costs down. And the only way to do that, in my opinion, is not just to get better at micro collection and transport, because that actually just adds cost. It's about creating business opportunities for these products to be recycled in the state and then reused. So, yeah.
I might get my Fogo plant somewhere after all. You never know.
You never know.
Yep.
Okay,
That's it, thanks.
thank you. Do I have, yes, Paul?
Yeah, I had a few questions around measurement methodology, I guess. So with livability engagement, we've got officers going out and exploring mapping and social connections and assets. I just wondered how councillors, I guess, can track how that's going, because I mean we see this coming up every meeting, but we don't really have any data. Likewise, emergency, going out and having conversation with the community, the place-based neighbourhood portals, those sorts of things. It'd be really useful to know how much traction we're getting.
Yep.
I realise a lot of this is early days and we're trying to work out how to do it, but I think it would be good to have that.
That's we did touch on that in that last workshop that we had around how we do evaluate this stuff, just like we evaluate just genuine dollar valuations, and bringing in the social, environmental, other values, cultural values, and actually evaluating those and bringing those to bear across all our decision making is where the teams are actively working on now, and then incorporating that into, for example, where you make that data useful for decision making is bringing it in on our assets, for example, which is what the workshop was about the other day. So yes, here's what these cost in dollar terms per year, but here's how do you evaluate the social capital, the social benefit we get out of that, so that we can make a rounded decision, because council assets aren't designed to make a profit, but they certainly need to demonstrate their value, otherwise they're just a cost.
Yeah, and if you've got a good way of measuring it, you can see what methods are working and what ones aren't.
Exactly right. Exactly. So you'll see more of that as the team progresses. That's what we're trying to bring
Fabulous.
together.
In strategic planning, I got a call from a resident after the Signet structure plan saying that she moved from Signet to Signet from Kingston to get away from the sort of development that was in the photograph on the thing, which was a photograph of the little units up behind the church. And I guess, in the workshop, I'd said that people in Signet aren't going to like this and we should change that photo. But it wasn't changed. And I just wondered, there were quite a few suggestions in that workshop, and none of them seemed to get changed in the report. So I don't know. I guess it feels like what's the point of raising those things in the workshop, I guess?
I'll have to take that one on notice and
Yeah.
come back to you on.
I mean, it may be because it's an external consultant or something like that did the work, or I don't know.
No, regardless, I mean, as you know, many of our feedback from workshops is routinely incorporated.
Yeah, normally it is, yeah.
So, I don't have an answer for you right here and now, but I'll come back to you on it.
All right. And do we have any, how are we going to get an answer from the Minister about the Huonville Reimagined? The feds, how do you get them to?
We don't need to anymore because we got it yesterday.
Oh, great.
So that's the deed has now
great.
been executed, finally. Thank you, Julie Collins, for your assistance as always in helping navigate these things. So, yes, that's
a great answer.
But they haven't extended the time, have they, to do the work?
Or added the extra money it's cost us.
Can we just celebrate one thing for a
Yeah,
short
yeah,
moment
well-
before I get on to the next challenge? Yes.
Well done, Lottie.
Yeah.
Is that,
Thanks. Yes, thanks.
do I have any others? Yes.
Sorry, through you, Mayor. Just touching on what Councillor Gibson just said, I was at that strategic thing on Sunday and I was talking to some folk who were looking through a book, one of the books that was there, and there was a lot of jargon in the book that people didn't understand. That was sort of like they were trying to work out I think there was a blue pathway and something else. I went, oh, that would be a waterway, or a green lane. Oh, that would be a walkway. Why can't we just use real words when we're, not us, it was from the consultant.
Yeah.
But they were sort of circling things, trying to work out what it was that was being spoken about.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I hadn't actually heard it referred to as that either. So I think we do need to just go back to that easy language,
Yeah.
write it so that,
People there who were confused about
Yes.
a lot of things.
Yes, they
and
were.
I think the communication was a bit.
but Ron was doing an amazing job, and so was
Yeah.
Lisa, of trying to break
Yeah.
it down into,
They were doing a great
they were
job.
doing a fantastic job.
Yeah,
But
the
I-
document needs to do the heavy lifting. though.
Yeah, but the document, I actually took one of them home and I had a read and I thought, oh, this is a bit higher level than it should be
Yeah, sure.
for presentation to people that are not used to speaking in those sort of terminology,
And a bit too much.
and a bit too
detail.
much.
This is
Yeah,
what
a
I'm
bit
saying.
too
This
much.
is, and a lot of people didn't know, there was the arrows for the pedestrian linkages and
Yes.
things, and they thought, oh, they were going to push roads. Where's that road and things? So it
Yeah,
wasn't.
Well, this is the stuff we spoke about in the workshop as well, around people often are expecting a structure plan to be a actual developable master plan, which it is not. So it's clearly, I mean, if that's the feedback we're getting, we haven't got it perfect. There is another one of these coming up, and there's also consultation coming up shortly for Mary Street. And the other roadworks around that, which also is something that other feedback that we've heard around the coordination of that, which it's a timing issue, and they're coming in close together but not integrated, which is unfortunate, but it's just the reality of what we're doing. So look, we'll just take that on board, re-review this, answer Councillor Gibson's question on the lack of use of feedback from the councillor workshop, and also if there's any simplification that we can do before the next engagement that we have in Sydney. Because there was 120
oh,
people.
no, look,
named.
it was basically good feedback because, like Lisa and Ron did, it was a tourist guide for them. They were tourist guides, but they explained things beautifully and people could grasp the concept. What they couldn't figure out was some of the terminology in the document,
Yeah.
because it's corporate council management sort of terminology. It's not everyday terminology that we would expect to be seeing, but everybody did understand that it was just not set in stone, like they knew that it was just a concept. Lyle did a fantastic job of mocking up a little drawing for the school farm as well for me, so that was good. That would have confused people entirely had they just seen things.
Yeah.
But overall, there was pretty positivity flowing through the room, I think. But that was the only thing, the document.
Yeah.
If we could
Valid.
just scale it back a wee bit, I think we're good to go.
Yep. Okay.
yeah, that was all from me. Thank you.
Do I have any other?
Just on that, the maps have been blown up from A4 to very big. So there was definitely scope to put a lot more notes on the map at the bigger scale, which wouldn't have worked in the document. So you could have, beside the little arrow, say, you could have said pedestrian connection, whatever, those sorts of things.
Yeah, okay.
We smashed it though, didn't we? Go see that.
Then we were blown out of the water by the attendants for the pub though.
300, yeah.
We're a passionate crew down that way.
That was, and honestly, the people that organised that did an outstanding job, and it was great that we had these two engagements on the same day in Cygnet, and people came out and got involved.
And totally different causes,
Yeah, it was well, but related both.
but related,
both
yeah,
ways.
going
What's
forward.
the future of our town going to look like? And that was awesome.
It was good.
Okay, do I have any other? No? Okay. You wish to close? Or-
No, thank you. I'm good, thanks, Mayor.
Well, I'll put that motion. Those in favour, please raise your hand. That's all, councillors. CEO, we had our workshops, which are our two that are listed. Yep, thank you. 13.1, answers to questions taken on notice. There was 3 councillor questions taken on notice from Councillor Robertson, Councillor Jessup and Councillor Rozak, and the answers have been given to them in the minutes. There was no questions on notice. Councillors, are there any questions without notice? No?
I'm sorry, Mayor. I have one that don't think people will like me asking, but I'm going to ask it. And it gets back to just trying to explain to me about the changes that resulted from the law case around residual subdivisions. So I think I've had 2 people come up to me recently saying that they, and my understanding is that if you subdivided a block into 2, you'd have to pay a certain cost for the second block, but there was some legal question if the first block was also charged that fee. That's now been resolved legally, and both blocks are now subject to, I'm not sure what the fee is, the public
open
open
space
space
contribution.
fee. The 2 separate people came to me, and they're not large-scale developers, they were just people who chopped the block in half, saying that they actually had they actually already had an approval in train and already signed all the paperwork, already been told how much it was going to cost. And now that the council's come back to them and saying, we want to recover that cost. So I suppose there is an equity issue for me in that if we've already sort of signed a contract, are we committed? Are we going to go back even further and ask for money from resolved subdivisions? I get it going forward that we will ask for that, but I just wanted to get a bit of a, I suppose, on the record sort of explanation of why, because there's a few people who are a bit annoyed with this. But, yeah.
And I'll pass it through to you ultimately for a better explanation. But just to say, we fully appreciate and have done our best to explain the situation to those people. We completely appreciate that this would be very frustrating and it's more cost. But what we are doing is applying the law.
Yeah. So if in some ways what you're saying is now the law's changed, we effectively can't not apply it if it's still in action.
100%, and correct. And so the concept that things were in play, whatever else, the law change sets out very clearly, and we are applying that very clearly in a simple.
Even if we had made a determination and sort of had a contract with that person, there's a change in law then.
Through you, Mayor, Council has not had a contract. So Council has issued a permit which has a condition activating public open space contribution. The case of Durius and Clarence City Council, which is the one that you're referring to, was very clear that once you have a condition in relation to the providing cash in lieu for public open space, no matter what your condition says, the interpretation of Section 117 of the Local Government Building Miscellaneous Provisions Act will prevail. That is interpreted by the court that the date that it is to be valued at is that the date of the plan is to be sealed, that the value is to be based upon the land as developed as that time, as saleable lots, and the area is to be all lots contained in the plan. And the law was very clear, so the court was very clear that the intention and purpose was that if council wasn't taking public open space from that subdivision, that it would have sufficient money to purchase at a similar price, so instead of a similar value rating, property which would be for the benefit of, the words are, inhabitants of the municipal area.
But the change is it's now based on every lot that was in there, not the
Yes,
4 out
yes.
of 6.
So prior to that, we had a policy provision which would exclude the balanced lot.
Right.
And the balanced lot is always shown as a lot number on the plan. The court said it includes the balanced lot.
So that policy's been in place since the law.
Since a
and it's
previous
now-
case of Leary and Clarence City Council,
Which was how long ago was that?
2009 or something like that.
Right. So there's no mechanism or interest or attempt to backdate all that now, or is that's done now? Everybody's.
What is done is done.
Yeah.
However, what is currently on foot and what is to come is subject
Yet
to
to
the
be
law.
done.
Now, and for council's benefit and members of the public on this, because it is something which has resulted in what I refer to as a perverse outcome
Yeah.
in some circumstances. People have gone forward in good faith and been, I suppose, caught
Yeah.
unintentionally in this outcome. We have actually considered what opportunities there are for council in relation to this. One of the things is whether there's an ability for council to remit,
Yeah.
but without a specific power to do so, and given the court's clear direction, the intention is to basically tax or gain income for the council for a specific purpose, there is no ability that we can see for council to remit or simply waive what may be the difference. And that's probably the most unfortunate outcome of the case. And to say openly, the Clarence City Council had not asked for what the judge ultimately gave. And the full court actually gave. So Clarence actually got more than they were originally asking for. So it's a very high point of law.
Yeah. So we can't waiver it, we can't take something else and lose, so it was just the unfortunate timing for those people who are in the position. Any idea how many that's affecting with us at the moment? How many subdivisions are in play?
I don't know. I believe the Director Community in Place circulated some information to councillors closer to the time, but I cannot remember the number.
But we're talking about a handful, I suspect, more so than a truckload.
Might be able to find it.
What's the truck?
Okay. Yeah. Oh, well, that's unfortunate for those people, but I understand what you're saying.
Yes.
Since we brought that subject up, I was going to comment a bit on this on our financials. So we have a windfall of over 300,000 from this decision in our report. Is that correct?
No. So through you, Mayor, what is reported in the financial statements isn't a windfall as such. So council will have budgeted and suggested that we've had worked on the basis that, say, 10 subdivisions will be finalised during any financial year. So an estimate will have been undertaken to say we will expect $250,000 in. What's actually happened in the financial statements that you have is that we've had either 15 subdivisions come in and or the value has increased. So this has had nothing to do with that court decision.
Yep.
And the money, to the extent that it's a windfall, the money is not consolidated revenue. It cannot be used for any recurrent or expenditure. It can only be used for the purchase of public open space or the betterment and improvement of the public open space. So it's actually held on trust.
Okay. How do you say this? I've had people complain to me about this situation. Okay. And I suppose their issue is that they feel they had an agreement with council and it was and they paid all their dues, and there was a chance that council could have had it settled and done before the court case came through. So if council would have been faster in its action, I don't know if this is true or not, this is probably related to me. If council had been more efficient in their actions, this wouldn't have occurred. So I suppose it doesn't pass the pub test.
Council's operating within our statutory timeframes. So while it may be, every applicant wants us to process their applications as fast as possible. As you know, we are advancing in that space, and we're looking to take great leaps forward with our AI agent. But ultimately, this court case has happened at a time where we have these things in process. We're working within a statutory timeframe. It is just an unfortunate issue. We've looked at it, we appreciate it. We can't resolve it for people.
Just coming back at you, is there a chance that this court case could be challenged?
Through you, Mayor, it would have had to have been appealed to the High Court. And I don't think there's been any mention whatsoever, and it's probably not something that would receive special leave from the High Court anyway, because that needs to be of national interest.
Okay.
I've found Lyle's email and it doesn't say, so the decision was just before Christmas in December. Merry Christmas, but I can't see anything in that where he said, but it's a relatively small window, so there wouldn't be hundreds of people doing subdivision, so there's a few very unlucky people.
We can get you the exact number, that's no problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you have any other?
No.
Okay, there's no motions on tonight, no. Okay, we're on to 16.1, 16.007/26, financial report, April 2026. I refer the councillors to the recommendation. Do I have a councillor to move the motion, please? Councillor Armstrong and Councillor Ball. Councillor Armstrong?
Nothing, thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Do I have any other comments or questions on? No? Yeah.
Nothing much has changed in the last quarterly anyway, so.
Last quarter was the significant update with variations and et cetera. So yeah,
It's pretty tidy.
Yep.
Okay. There's no other. I'll put that motion. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That's all, councillors. The motion is carried. 16.008/26, adoption of fees and charges for 2026-27 financial year. I refer the councillors to recommendation. Do I have a councillor to move the motion? Councillor O'Neill and Councillor Rozak. Do you wish to comment on that?
No, Mayor, I think they're reasonable increases and can be explained. Obviously, the people are struggling, we know that, but then we can't go into the red either. So. Yep.
Okay, do I have any other comment on that? No. Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please raise your hand. It's all councillors. The motion is carried. Report number 16.009/26, status report, outstanding rate debtors. Do I have a councillor to move this motion? Yes, Councillor Armstrong. Yep, Councillor Gibson. Councillor Armstrong.
Self-explanatory, thank you, Mayor.
Any other comments or questions?
Caravan Park, Mayor?
No.
Sorry.
Outstanding rates.
Oh, yep, sorry.
Yep, you're right. Do I have any other questions on this one?
No, not for me, sorry.
Okay, well, I'll put that motion forward. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That's all councillors, and the motion is carried. Report number 17.005/26, Signet Caravan Park lease renewal. I refer the councillor's recommendation of this report. Do I have a councillor to move the motion, please? Councillor O'Neill, and a seconder, Councillor Gibson. Councillor O'Neill.
Yep, look, I've got no issue with the recommendation of having a lease for another 2 years. That's a great situation. Well, not a great situation. It keeps keeps us sort of moving along. Probably in 2 years' time, I find it difficult that we're going to be able to vacate that site. I think 2 years, I know that's what we want to do, but I think we've got to realise reality might be that we're still going to be there. I noticed in the Reimagine Signet reports, there's a sort of a wish to move it to the east of the recreation ground. I just think we need to probably talk to the tenants there, like the cricket club, football club, the riding club, men's shed, Axman's, there's an Axman's site there, I don't know how much that's used or whatever, and the dog walkers, and just I feel that they would have no idea of this recommendation at this point in time, and that's probably partly their fault and partly they haven't negotiated with the planning meetings that we've had. But we need to probably have a sit down with them over the next couple of weeks. I'm happy to organise that. And I think council does have a responsibility to support people in that site and the situation they're in. I know we don't want to do that, but we'd rather not be in that business. But then we don't really want to be in childcare or medical facilities either. So I think, yeah, I just don't know if we're going to be. I'd say we're still there in 2 years' time. To be perfectly honest. Thank you.
I have a slightly different angle. I mean, I really want to get out of there.
We've
We've been kicking this down the road for so long, and I was really encouraged to set this 2 years to sort it out, because I think it's been too long. There's no investment in the infrastructure because it's not going anywhere, and I mean, I'd like to see the state government putting in some decent housing, social housing for the people in these caravans. And there were 2 people who did move out of the caravan park into the new social housing, so that up behind Signet.
There have been movements. This lease puts in place a plan to achieve vacant possession.
Yeah.
We will do everything we possibly can to achieve that, working with Mr. Gudden and the residents. There is movement amongst the long-term residents. So I have every confidence that if we prioritise this, and with a deadline set now, we just need to go after it and help those people into more suitable accommodation. And at the same time, to Councillor O'Neill's point, do some direct engagement with the grounds users, the stakeholders, around the structure plan, which is a separate but related matter. So that's absolutely appropriate to organise. Bring that to their specific attention, and go from there. But setting a time clock on this, 2 years, that is us saying that is going to be a goal we'll be working very hard to achieve.
From what I understand, Ronnie Gudden doesn't want to take it on for longer than that. So.
No, and I mean, look, we really appreciate the fact that he's willing to continue working with us under this approach.
How many permanent sites do we think are actually there?
I'm not sure right now.
Yeah.
Because, I don't. It's very nice for us to say that we're going to magic up some housing to move these people to, but that's, people live in these sites for a whole range of reasons. They can't afford social housing. They're not high enough up the 4,500 other people who are on the public housing list. So I think if we don't want to be in a position in 2 years' time when we are literally towing people's vans away from under them, which is potentially the only way we're going to have to do it, which obviously would be a horrendous thing to do, we're going to have to engage with people outside of our council area, so government agencies, sort of like what Paul was saying, is to demand housing provision for these people, but or find another alternate site before
Which is
then.
what we've done in the past
And
has worked.
It's worked. Okay.
Yep, and which is what we're commencing now again. There's a very small number of longer term residents here, and they're the focus. The others, and I'm not an expert on this, and I don't know the full numbers, but my understanding is that the majority of the balance are they're cycling. They're coming in often out of our area because they have fallen on hard times, and they are going to effectively crisis accommodation that they can afford and is available to them. But they are ultimately coming in temporarily and then moving off into more appropriate.
So they're not bringing their own vans in, they're using site
Vans
vans.
there.
There's vans there.
So are we telling the owner to remove them each time they become vacant? Is that how it's-
That's the condition
That's
of this
definitely
lease.
and will he comply?
Yeah, well, that's the deal. That's the lease arrangement.
Do you think?
Yes.
So we believe we can enforce that. Yeah.
I think that the manager actually genuinely recognises the sort of the social responsibility, and is actually, it's to his great credit that he's willing to continue to do this and work together to help people out of this situation and let the site turn into something different.
If only we had tiny homes on our, we could move some of the people.
I'll ignore that. Yes?
I think it's a genuine comment.
Not a helpful one at this present
Next to
moment.
somebody else. Sorry, through you, Mayor, what if we put a different spin on this whole caravan? How difficult is it for somebody to construct and open a caravan park? Like to actually set one up, like not related to government or anybody else, privatise it? Like if they had a piece of land, what would be,
Amenities?
yeah, amenities. I know there's amenities and I know there's all the infrastructure and everything else that goes with it, but what would be the criteria? So you'd have to be using like residential and commercial land. What sort of land would you need to open up a caravan park to provide to the public in like with roads that we manage and everything else? Is there a huge list of requirements that needs to be battered through?
I can tell you. Sure. Through you, Mayor, we may have to come back with you for further details, but it is visitor accommodation under the planning scheme.
Okay, so
And it's not significant in that respect. So you could have various natures of caravan parks.
Okay.
You could have a caravan park where you have people fully contained RVs, similar to the Franklin site, just drive in and drive out with no amenities. You could have a full-blown caravan park as we know them, which has the amenities, a few units, concrete slabs, everything like that. So at the end of the day, it's all based upon the proposal that you get lodged with us. But there's flexibility for visitor accommodation in most zones.
Because it just struck me that it's probably not that difficult for somebody to actually just open one and put what they want there, really. Like, if we can find a willing participant with a good parcel of land somewhere, and it was sort of close to things, then we...
Hand up, Councillor Armstrong.
Too steep at my house.
Look,
Wouldn't get a van up the driveway.
Look, there's the theoretical opening it, getting through planning is one thing, and then managing it.
But I actually know people that have been poking around this idea for 2 or 3 years.
And so and
And
so
they're
do we.
close to Cygnet and they've got good pasture or land and paddocks and,
It's whether they want long-term people.
well, no, they prefer shorter term.
There's
But
certainly land located in close vicinity, in a suitable.
yeah, there's a bit of an appetite going on for it at the minute. Yeah.
And if, those people can engage with council, but I'd also just recommend that they call our AI planning agent
Yeah.
and have a chat about this is
His agent
my
got a name.
property and could I do this?
Got a name.
And it
What's
would
his
be
agent's
very
name?
good. Michael.
Michael. That's a very posh name for an AI thing, isn't it? So you say hello, Michael.
It's named after Michael Bartlett.
Oh, how lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Well, that's really special, isn't it? So they could, because we don't need to have the caravan parks. We don't need to be, if someone's interested and it's a reasonably simple process, then I reckon go for it.
But I don't, somebody might want to do that, but I'm not convinced that we should be encouraging any system that encourages long-term people living in caravans long-term. We should be trying to find better quality, and generally tiny homes are a better quality outcome, or social housing.
And thank you for
Because-
saying that. It's two, because they're two separate things.
Yeah,
There's a recrecreational
Yes.
absolutely.
visitor
Happy with that.
accommodation outcome that is
Or
necessary.
pickers or
Which
something
is,
for a
which is
while.
what these
or-
people are
Yep.
talking about, not, because we shouldn't be in this situation where there's long-term people. That's not really
No,
what it's
It's not
about.
fair on, people trying to raise kids in cold, wet, damp.
But if they've got nowhere else to go,
Well, that's
that's the
is that
thing.
our job to help create places? for
Oh, no,
people
it's
to go?
not, but we can't say
Well,
that,
is it? I'm saying I think we do have a role in lobbying government to.
Oh, yeah,
to
lobbying,
better
yeah,
housing
absolutely,
and so-
but,
And we've signed off, probably 100 social housing units in the last couple of years down here. But they don't always, if they're just coming through the housing list,
yeah,
these guys they might have housing debts. There might be a whole
Yeah, that's right.
heap of reasons that they're excluded from their housing list.
But I'm sort of thinking in 2 years, if that site needs to go, is there somebody within that 2-year period from now to then that would like to take over a caravan short-term visitor? And then, we could still advocate for homeless people and everything else, but not have the headache of everything else.
This is why it's the same in Huonville, when we commence the strategic land use planning process, people do start contacting council because they're receiving that signal that, okay, this is what's desirable, this is where the needs are. And so they start talking to us about the opportunity, and we're open to assisting in those conversations. It's also, to Mark's point, to Councillor Jessup's point, that that land, the balance of that land it's owned by council and state government. And if we can vacate that land and we're putting a structure plan, et cetera, allowing for some greater density, et cetera, it allows us to then have that conversation and go roll out the red carpet for Homes Tasmania, for example, or a social housing provider, whatever, to redevelop that with some well-designed, amenable social housing that looks good, supports people, and reuses that block into a far more suitable outcome, while the visitor accommodation aspect goes elsewhere. Because those two things, the long-term social housing and visitor comm, do not mix. It's not to the benefit of the town. So as you go through that process, that adaptive reuse and land use planning, there are usually points where it gets a bit messy and tight for people, which is really unfortunate. And that's where we need to play in that transition period. So we sort of send the signals, try to align developers with good strategic outcomes, and then in those little bits where people get squeezed while there's a transition, try to help people. There is where we can be most beneficial.
That's right, and working with social housing providers to at least find some short-term stuff for those, and even to give some of those people priority to move back into well-designed housing. But it's frustrating.
I mean, I think we should always be advocating for that anyway, but it is frustrating because we're just in a crappy spot globally, economically,
It's probably worth mentioning as well, they're not in the planning stats this time around, but talking to one of the planners the other day, there's several medium density projects currently under assessment, about to be signed off, coming through Huonville, which is really encouraging. That is giving people, no, just private. So it's not all just about social housing, it's also about just giving people choice. That's already, that's what we're, again, trying to do with our structure planning in Cygnet, in Huonville and Cygnet, but giving people choice for those smaller format townhouses within our main urban areas. More opportunities to house people.
and using land sensibly.
Correct. Yeah. So it's not all. It's people are living in tough times, but it's not all doom and gloom.
No, it's not all doom and gloom, but I just think, it's if we could find a willing participant to take on the short-term people, then hopefully we could do something with the property that's there now.
But coming back to this one though, signing a lease structured like this to achieve vacant possession becomes a priority for us, and I have every confidence that I know we'll give it our absolute best shot, and we just have to be confident that we'll get the result that we're aiming to get out of this new lease.
So the private vans will remain long-term?
No,
They'll be, as soon as they're vacated.
You won't be running
they'll be
No, but I mean, within this 2-year period, like the vans that are being removed are owned by the leasee, yes?
The majority are owned by, the van, the operator.
Yeah.
So as vans become vacant, they will not be refilled.
Yes, but I think there are a couple of long-term ones out there that
Yeah, so
are
they're,
their own
so
vans.
they're the ones that we need to focus on from
You're
council's
trying to
perspective.
find, yep.
Find alternative
Yep.
accommodation.
Thank you, that was all.
Okay, do I have any other? Thank you. Got it?
And
Close?
I agree with Councillor Gibson. I want to be out of there in 2 years as well. But I think 2 years is not that long a time frame. And I'll be honest, I'm not sure about mixing up a recreation area, a recreation site with caravan accommodation.
And there's the horses
Yeah, that's right. And so, I mean,
as well.
there's many clubs in there doing different
Yeah.
activities. I'm not sure how suitable that mix is. And if we organise this meeting, we'll find out.
Yeah.
Yep, thank you.
All right. Okay, so if I don't have any other, I'll put that motion forward. All in favour, please raise your hand. That's all councillors. That's carried. 19.01/26. The recommendation is that we move into closed council. So we have no one in the gallery tonight, but I thank those, if there's anyone watching from home. The recommendation is that the meeting now be closed to the public at
6:51 PM.
pursuant to Regulation 17 of the Local Government Meeting Procedures Regulations 2025 to discuss the following matters: confirmation of minutes, general reports closed, and public tender, non-application of public tender. Do I have a councillor to move a motion to go into closed? Councillor Thorpe and Councillor Jessup. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That's all councillors. I advise that in accordance with Yorn Valley's council audio recording of council meetings policy, recording of the open session of this meeting ceased at
6:52 PM.